The first time humans met the Arcadian Council, most species laughed. The small pink creatures with their fragile bodies and primitive technology seemed harmless, almost cute. The council representatives watched with amusement as the human delegation entered the grand chamber, their eyes wide with wonder at the massive crystal dome that showed the stars beyond. Ambassador Carol Wilson led the human group. She was tall for a human, with short brown hair and determined eyes. She wore the blue uniform of Earth Alliance with its simple silver star symbol. Her 4 team members followed closely behind, each carrying data pads and looking around with barely contained excitement. The council chamber held representatives from 26 alien species, each more advanced than humans by centuries, some by millennia. The Arcadians themselves sat at the highest tier, their tall blue bodies glowing slightly with internal bioluminescence. They had ruled the galaxy for 5,000 years. Great Council, we come in peace and friendship. Carol spoke, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The translation devices hummed softly, making her words understood by all species present. We seek to join the galactic community as equal partners. Laughter echoed through the chamber, a deep rumbling sound from the Vorkath delegation, their massive reptilian bodies shaking with amusement. The lead Vorkath representative, Goresh, stood up, his scales gleaming under the chamber lights. Equal partners, he repeated, his translator struggling to convey his mockery. Your species has barely mastered basic space travel. Your longest journey took you only to your own moon. You have no quantum technology, no gravity manipulation, no faster-than-light communication. Your weapons are primitive projectiles and chemical explosives. Carol stood straighter, refusing to show any sign of intimidation. We may be young compared to the council species, but we learn quickly, and we bring new perspectives, new ideas. The Arcadian prime speaker raised a long, slender hand, silencing the chamber. The ancient being leaned forward slightly, its eyes swirling with colors that humans could barely perceive. Human Wilson, we acknowledge your courage in coming before us, but the Council does not admit species at your development level. You are classified as protectorate status. You may establish colonies in your own solar system only. You may not develop certain technologies without supervision, and you will receive a council advisor who will guide your species. Development Carol frowned. This was not what Earth had expected. The transmissions from passing alien ships had suggested open membership opportunities. She glanced at her team, seeing their disappointment. With respect, Prime, Speaker, Earth does not seek protection. We seek partnership. We have much to offer. The Zilari representative, a being that looked like a cross between an octopus and a butterfly, floated forward, its translucent tentacles rippling with color patterns. What could humans possibly offer the Council? The Zilari asked, its voice melodic but dismissive. Your art is primitive. Your science is thousands of years behind even the youngest council races. Your philosophy centers around your own species. Importance. You have fought wars over skin color and imaginary territorial lines. Carol took a deep breath. She had been warned this might happen. The council was known for its arrogance, especially toward newly discovered species. We offer determination, she said, her voice stronger now. We offer creativity. We offer a different way of seeing the universe, and most importantly, we offer friendship freely, given, not demanded. The chamber grew quiet. The concept seemed strange to many council species where relationships were based on power, technology, or resources. The Arcadian prime speaker tilted its head, studying Carol with new interest. Your species has spirit human. This is noted, but spirit alone does not qualify for council membership. The decision stands. You are granted protectorate status. A council ship will arrive at your world within 1 rotation cycle to establish oversight protocols. Carol opened her mouth to protest, but the prime speaker raised its hand again. This audience is concluded. The human delegation was escorted from the chamber, their protests ignored as the massive doors closed behind them. Carol turned to her team, her expression hard. They think we're children to be guided and protected, she said softly, but they have no idea what humans are capable of when underestimated. 5 years passed. Earth did not resist the Council oversight officially. They welcomed the advisor, a Zilari named Marilyn. They listened to lectures about proper galactic development. They nodded and smiled, and appeared to accept their place. But humans were never good at staying where they were put. In a secret facility beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Amy Hudson worked with a team of 50 scientists. The room hummed with energy as massive equipment analyzed the strange material they had discovered in the asteroid belt. The Council had overlooked it. Their scans focused on technological signatures, energy patterns, known elements, but they missed the biological component, something alive, but not. Alive, organic, but not evolved. Amy adjusted her glasses as she studied the readouts. The material responded to human thought in ways that defied standard physics. It seemed to bend space itself when properly stimulated. Try the new frequency pattern, she instructed her team. We need to stabilize the field for at least 30 seconds. The technicians nodded, adjusting controls on the massive containment chamber. In the center, a small piece of the material glowed with an inner light that shifted. Between colors humans had no names for. The Council advisor never visits this facility. Her assistant noted, working beside her. They focus on our main research centers, our space development. The obvious places. Amy smiled slightly. Humans had learned to be clever. They showed the Council what they expected to see. Primitive attempts at faster engines, basic shield technology, simple weapons development. Nothing that would cause concern, while the real breakthroughs happened elsewhere. Hidden in plain sight. We're not breaking any rules, Amy said, watching the material pulse with energy. The Council never forbade research into unknown materials. They just assumed we couldn't recognize them. The chamber hummed louder. The material began to spin, forming a perfect sphere. The energy reading spiked, then stabilized. There, she whispered as the sphere began to glow brighter. The first stable reaction, in orbit around Jupiter. Council observer. Ships monitored human activity in the outer system. Their advanced sensors swept the gas giant and its moon's regular patrols, ensuring humans stayed within their boundaries. Commander Linda Harris watched from the bridge of the Earth vessel, Pioneer. The small ship was officially on a scientific mission studying Jovian atmospheric patterns. The Council observers paid it little attention. Such primitive vessels posed no threat. Linda smiled as she received the encrypted transmission from Lunar Base. Success, she whispered. The breakthrough was real. The material they called Nexus responded to human thought in ways that defied Council science. It could potentially create shortcuts through space itself. No massive engines required, no conventional physics. Ready the test package, she ordered her crew. The small probe was disguised as a standard atmosphere sampler, but inside it contained a tiny fragment of Nexus material, programmed with a simple destination: Mars. Orbit on the command deck of the Council observer ship. Supreme Guardian, Zilari Observer Kelton, monitored human activities with bored detachment, his many eyes scanning multiple screens simultaneously, showing various human ships in the system. Such a primitive species, he thought the Council had assigned him to watch humans for 10 cycles. But nothing interesting ever happened. They built their small ships. They established their simple moon colony. They sent probes to their nearby planets, all within approved guidelines, all properly supervised. His attention drifted to the Pioneer, a small, insignificant vessel running basic atmospheric tests of the gas giant. Nothing worth noting. Behind him, the emergency alert system remained silent. The advanced sensors failed to detect the tiny ripple in spacetime as the test probe vanished from Jupiter orbit on Mars. Governor Laura Chen stood in the observation dome watching the red landscape below. The human colony was small, just 300 people living under protective domes. The Council had permitted this limited expansion, but no, further humanity was contained, supervised, guided. Her communication device chimed softly. She answered it, her expression neutral. Even as her heart raced with anticipation, "Is it done?" she asked quietly. The voice of Amy Hudson replied from Luna Base. "The test was successful, Governor." The probe arrived exactly as calculated. The energy signature was minimal, undetected by Council sensors. Laura closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself a moment of pure joy. This changed everything. The Council thought they understood humans. They thought they knew what Earth was capable of. They were wrong. Tell Earth Command we proceed to Phase 2. She said we have 1 year before the Council rotation brings new observers. Use it well. Across the solar system, humans continued their seemingly normal activities, building colonies, developing approved technologies, smiling at their Council advisors, and all the while the secret work continued. On Earth, Council Ambassador Zorak addressed the United Earth government. In a grand ceremony broadcast worldwide, the tall Arcadian stood on the stage, his blue skin gleaming under the lights. Human leaders seated around him. The Council is pleased with human progress, he announced, his voice translated for the audience. You have shown admirable restraint and wisdom in following our guidance. In recognition of this, the Council grants Earth permission to establish a small research outpost on your neighboring. The Nexus project accelerated beyond all expectations. 6 months ahead of schedule, the first full-scale test was ready. The secret facility on Deimos, one of Mars' tiny moons, hummed with activity. Scientists and engineers moved with purpose, checking systems and reviewing data. 1 year of dedicated work had produced something the Council would have deemed impossible for humans to create. Commander Olivia Martinez stood in the control center, her dark eyes focused on the main display. The test ship Pathfinder sat in the launch bay, a small vessel that looked unremarkable from the outside. Inside it contained a Nexus drive core the size of a coffee table, a device that could fold space itself. Are we ready? She asked, her voice calm, despite the historic moment about to unfold. Chief Engineer Kelly nodded, her red hair tied back in a practical ponytail. Final checks complete, Commander. The drive is stable, energy levels optimal. Destination coordinates locked. Olivia took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. If the test succeeded, humanity would take a quantum leap forward in development. If it failed, the Council would continue to see humans as primitive creatures to be guided and controlled for centuries. Begin countdown, she ordered. The room fell silent as the automated system began counting down from 10. Everyone present understood the stakes. No one wanted to miss a second of history being made. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Nexus activation. On the screen, the Pathfinder seemed to shimmer slightly. Then it simply vanished. No flash, no explosion, not even a ripple of energy. Just there, one moment, gone the next. The control room remained silent, waiting. 30 seconds passed, then 60. The tension grew with each passing moment. Doubt began to creep in. Had something gone wrong? Had the ship been destroyed? Then suddenly the communication system chimed. A signal coming in, text only as planned to minimize detection. Message reads, arrival successful, coordinates exact Neptune. Orbit achieved, system nominal, returning in 5 minutes. The control room erupted in cheers. People hugged each other, some cried with joy. Olivia allowed herself a small smile. The Pathfinder had just traveled from Mars to Neptune in an instant. Journey that would take conventional ships months, even with the best Council-approved engines. And most importantly, the Council monitoring stations had detected nothing. Governor Laura Chen entered the control room, her face showing the strain of months of secrecy and preparation. The room quieted as she approached Olivia. It worked, she said softly. It actually worked. Better than we hoped, Olivia replied. The energy signature was minimal. No alerts from Council observers. The ship is returning. Now Laura nodded, her expression shifting to one of determination. This changes everything. Earth Command is ready to proceed with Phase 3. Phase 3. The mass production of Nexus drives, the secret construction of a human fleet, and the final preparations for Operation Breakout, the day humanity would show the galaxy their true potential on the Arcadian homeworld. The Council held its quarterly session discussing matters across their vast territory. The massive chamber built from living crystal contained representatives from all 26 member species. The humans, of course, were not among them. They were merely a protectorate. not evolved enough for true membership. High Chancellor Vazik of the Arcadians addressed the assembly, his tall blue form radiating authority. Our observers report that the human protectorate continues to develop along expected lines. They have established a small colony on their moon and research outposts on their neighboring planets, Mars and Venus. Their technology advances at the predicted pace, slow but steady. They show appropriate gratitude for our guidance. The Vorkath representative Garash snorted, his massive reptilian form shifting on the too small seat. They are uninteresting. A minor species that will require centuries of development before they merit any real attention. Their greatest achievement is still their primitive art and music forms. Their sciences remain basic, their space travel rudimentary. The Zilari ambassador floated forward, tentacles moving gracefully. I disagree. The humans show unusual adaptability. Their learning curve is steeper than our models predicted. They integrate new knowledge in unexpected ways. My observers note their particular talent for improvisation. They solve problems differently than established species. High Chancellor Vazik waved a dismissive hand. Their differences make them interesting specimens, but they remain far behind. Even the youngest council races. They have no faster-than-light technology, no significant energy manipulation capabilities, and their understanding of galactic politics is simplistic at best. They are where they belong, under our protection and guidance. Little did the council know that at that very moment, human activity was accelerating beyond all their models and predictions. In secret facilities across the Sol system, Nexus drives were being manufactured. Human ships were being retrofitted with the new technology. The council observers saw only what humans wanted them to see: routine mining operations, ordinary research, typical development deep beneath the lunar surface. Commander Olivia Martinez met with the Earth Defense Force leadership. The large chamber carved from moon rock held 20 of Earth's highest military officials. Scientists and engineers stood ready with presentations and data. The Nexus drive is fully operational. Olivia reported as images appeared on the large screens behind her. We have successfully tested it on 15 vessels of various sizes. All tests show the same results: instant transportation between points in space with minimal energy signatures. Admiral Helen Foster leaned forward, her gray hair cut in a practical military style. And the council remains unaware, completely unaware, Olivia confirmed. Our observers watch their observers. The council ships maintain routine patrol patterns. Their communications show no signs of suspicion. Secretary of Defense Samantha Wright stood up, addressing the room. Her presence commanded attention, though she spoke softly. Then we are ready for Operation Breakout. The President has given final approval. We move in 30 days. The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. In 30 days, humanity would break free of council restrictions, not by fighting, not by rebellion, but by simply demonstrating that the council had severely underestimated what humans were capable of. On Mars, Governor Laura Chen supervised the completion of the new colony dome. The structure was massive, designed to eventually house 10,000 people, triple what the council had approved. But the council observers saw only the small approved dome on their sensors. Thanks to Nexus-derived technology, the larger structure remained hidden from conventional scanning. Council ship hovered above the Mars colony, the massive vessel dwarfing any human ship. Yet Laura felt no intimidation as she watched it through the dome. The council technology was impressive, yes, but humans had found a different path, one the council had never considered. Inside the council vessel Zilari observer, Kelton conducted his monthly inspection of the human Mars colony. His many eyes scanned the settlement, noting its modest size and basic technology. The humans greeted him with appropriate respect, showing him their approved research, their simple living quarters, their basic life support systems. Everything appears in order, Kelton noted, making entries in his report. The humans are progressing at expected rates. No violations of council directives. If only he could see what lay beneath the surface. The massive underground complex, the advanced manufacturing facilities, the fleet of ships equipped with Nexus drives, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Humanity had learned that sometimes the best place to hide was in plain sight. The day of Operation Breakout dawned like any other. The Council ships maintained their usual positions. Human activity appeared normal. On Earth Council, Ambassador Zorak attended a diplomatic function, smiling benevolently at the primitive but charming humans. Then, at precisely 1200 Earth Standard Time, everything changed across the solar system. 100 human ships activated their Nexus drives simultaneously. They appeared at predetermined coordinates throughout Council space, each one emerging near a major Council world or installation. No warnings, no distress signals, just sudden, unexpected appearances. On the Council homeworld, alarms blared as human ships materialized in orbit. The massive defense grid activated, but the human vessels took no hostile action. They simply held position, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Ambassador Carol Wilson of Earth Alliance. We come in peace, but we come on our own terms. We are not here to fight. We are here to introduce ourselves properly as equals, not as a protectorate." In the Council chamber, chaos erupted. Emergency systems flashed warnings as reports flooded in human ships, appearing simultaneously across Council space. An impossible feat for a species with their technology level. High Chancellor Vazik rose from his seat, his blue skin paling with shock. What is the meaning of this? How have they done this on the main screen? Ambassador Carol Wilson appeared, her expression calm but determined. Honored Council members, we appreciate your guidance over these past years, but humanity has decided to accelerate our development timeline. We have achieved faster than light travel through means your science has overlooked. We have established colonies beyond our solar system, and we are prepared to join the galactic community as full members, not as a protected species. The Council members stared in disbelief. The humans had somehow developed technology that should have been centuries beyond their reach, and they had done it right under Council observation. Carol continued, her voice firm but respectful. The Council chambers remained silent for several long moments after Ambassador Carol Wilson finished speaking. The image of the human diplomat hung in the air above the central platform, her expression calm but resolute. Around the Great Hall Council, species from across the galaxy exchanged worried glances. This was unprecedented. A protectorate species had not only developed beyond their approved timeline, but had somehow achieved it in secret. High Chancellor Vazik found his voice first rising to his full impressive height. This is a violation of Council law. He declared, his blue skin flashing with patterns of anger and alarm. Protectorate species are forbidden from developing faster than light travel without supervision. Your actions constitute a direct challenge to Council authority. Carol shook her head slightly. With respect, Chancellor, we studied the full text of the Protectorate Agreement. The exact wording forbids development of known faster-than-light technologies without Council supervision. Our Nexus drive operates on principles unknown to Council science. It creates temporary folds in space-time rather than conventional warp fields. We developed something new, not something forbidden. The Vorkath representative Garash slammed his massive, scaled fist on the table before him, causing several smaller Council members to flinch. Semantics and word games, he growled. How did you hide this development? Our observers monitored your system continuously. Carol allowed herself a small smile. Your observers saw what they expected to see. They looked for energy signatures consistent with conventional drive technology, for resource allocation toward known propulsion systems. They never considered that we might find another path entirely. Auxiliary Ambassador floated forward, his tentacles rippling with agitation. The simultaneous appearance of human vessels across Council space was clearly meant as a show of force. A threat. Ambassador Wilson kept her expression neutral, though those who knew humans well might have noticed a flash of irritation in her eyes. Not a threat, a demonstration. We could have chosen military targets. We did not. We appeared in open space, broadcasting our peaceful intentions immediately. If we wished for conflict, we would have chosen a very different approach. This gave the Council members pause. It was true. The human ships had made no aggressive moves. They had simply appeared and requested dialogue. The Arcadian Prime Speaker raised a slender blue hand, silencing the murmurs across the chamber. "How did you develop this Nexus technology?" he asked, his voice carrying genuine curiosity, not just outrage. Carol nodded to someone off-screen, and a series of technical schematics appeared beside her. Simplified version of the Nexus drive. "We discovered an unusual material in the asteroid belt of our system," she explained, "a substance with unique properties that responds to certain thoughts, patterns, and energy configurations. Your observers overlooked it because it registers as partly organic, partly crystalline. It falls between categories in your scanning protocols." Several scientific representatives leaned forward, studying the schematics with newfound interest. The principles involved were unlike anything in Council technology. The humans had genuinely discovered something new. The Prime Speaker studied the human ambassador carefully. "You realize that this revelation changes the balance of power in Council space. The restrictions placed on your species were meant to ensure gradual safe integration into the galactic community." Carol nodded. "We understand the Council's concerns. But humanity has its own path. Our history, our psychology, our very nature drives us to explore, to discover, to expand. We cannot accept artificial constraints on our development, especially when those constraints are based on underestimating our capabilities." She gestured to the ships visible in orbit around the Council homeworld. "We have not come to threaten or demand. We have come to introduce ourselves properly. The real humanity. Not the obedient protectorate species you thought we were, but the innovative, adaptable, determined people we truly are. We seek peaceful relations, trade, cultural exchange." But as equals, not as subordinates, the Council chamber erupted in heated debate. Some representatives called for immediate military response. Others argued for negotiation. A few expressed fascination with the new human technology. The carefully maintained order of thousands of years had been disrupted by a species considered barely spacefaring just years earlier. While the Council deliberated, humanity continued its carefully planned emergence. On 100 worlds, human ships maintained position there, crews nervous but disciplined. They had trained for this moment, practiced every possible scenario. They represented Earth to the galaxy, and they would do so with dignity and restraint aboard the flagship. Horizon Commander Olivia Martinez monitored communications from across Council space. So far, no hostile actions had been taken against human vessels. The Council forces seemed too shocked to respond militarily, which was exactly what Earth Command had predicted. Admiral Helen Foster appeared. On the command screen, her expression serious but satisfied. "Phase 1. Complete, Olivia. All ships report successful transitions. No technical failures, no aggressive responses from Council forces." Olivia nodded, checking the status displays. "All systems. Normal energy level stable." The Nexus drives had performed flawlessly, and the colonization ships, she asked. Admiral Foster smiled, already at their destinations. The Council was so focused on our demonstration fleet, they missed the 30 colony ships. Jumping to the designated systems. Operation New Horizon is proceeding as planned. This had been the true purpose behind the dramatic appearance at Council Worlds. A distraction. While the Council focused on the human vessels in their core systems, the real mission was taking place elsewhere. 30 massive colony ships carrying thousands of settlers and years of supplies had jumped to carefully selected star systems beyond Council space. Humanity was establishing its presence among the stars, regardless of the Council's decision. On Earth, Secretary of Defense Samantha Wright addressed the United Earth government in emergency session. Her voice was calm, but carried the weight of the historic moment. "The first phase of Operation Breakout has succeeded," she reported. "All demonstration vessels are in position, maintaining peaceful stance. The Council appears divided on how to respond. Meanwhile, our colonization efforts proceed unimpeded. The systems designated Alpha through Zeta have been reached and settlement is beginning." President Maria Alvarez stood addressing the assembled leaders. "For too long, humanity accepted limits imposed by others. Today we have demonstrated that we will chart our own course. We extend friendship to the Council and all peaceful species, but we will no longer ask permission to explore the stars." The assembly erupted in applause. The carefully planned operation, years in development, was unfolding exactly as designed. Back in Council space, negotiations had begun. Ambassador Carol Wilson now stood in person before the Council, her small human form seeming fragile compared to the massive Vorkath representatives and the towering Arcadians. Yet she showed no fear, no intimidation. "We propose the following," she stated, her voice carrying through the massive chamber. "Humanity withdraws from protectorate status and is recognized as an independent spacefaring civilization. We acknowledge Council authority and existing Council space and seek peaceful relations. We claim the right to explore and settle unclaimed systems beyond current Council boundaries. We offer to share certain aspects of Nexus technology in exchange for access to Council scientific and cultural knowledge." The Council members exchanged glances. This was not the aggressive expansion many had feared. Instead, the humans were offering compromise, recognition of existing boundaries, peaceful coexistence, technology exchange. It was not what they had expected. The Zilari ambassador spoke, his voice betraying his confusion. "You could have used this technology to claim many worlds by force before we could respond. Why choose diplomacy?" Carol smiled, a genuine expression that caught many Council members by surprise. "Because despite what you may believe about us, humans prefer cooperation to conflict. We seek friends, not subjects, allies, not enemies. Our history contains war. Yes, but it also contains great achievements in peace, diplomacy, and mutual prosperity. We want to join the galactic community, not conquer it." In the days that followed, tense negotiations continued. The Council discovered that 30 human colony ships had already reached distant star systems beyond Council space, establishing permanent settlements. This was a fait accompli. The humans had already begun their expansion with or without Council approval. Some Council species called for military action to contain the human threat, but cooler heads noted the disturbing implications of the Nexus drive. If human ships could appear anywhere without warning, a military response might prove disastrous. The Nexus technology gave humanity a strategic advantage that offset their otherwise inferior technology. 2 weeks after Operation Breakout, the Council reached its decision. High Chancellor Vazik addressed the human delegation, his expression solemn. "The Council acknowledges humanity as an independent spacefaring civilization." He declared, "Your protectorate status is hereby dissolved. You may maintain your colonies in the systems you have already settled. We recognize your right to explore unclaimed space beyond Council boundaries. We accept your offer of limited technology exchange and propose a non-aggression pact between Council space and Earth Alliance." 6 months after the first Scourge attack, humanity faced a growing crisis. The alien forces had struck 3 more frontier colonies, each attack more coordinated than the last. The Scourge learned quickly, adapting to human defense strategies. The Earth Alliance fleet had repelled each attack, but at increasing cost in the Grand Council chamber on Arcadia. Ambassador Carol Wilson stood before the assembled representatives of 26 species. Her expression was grave as she addressed the Council. "The Scourge attacks continue to escalate," she stated. "The Earth Alliance has lost 33 ships and nearly 500 lives defending our frontier colonies. We have attempted communication during every encounter. We have broadcast peace offerings on all frequencies. Even when our ships were under fire, no response has been received. We must conclude that the Scourge have no interest in diplomatic relations." High Chancellor Vazik leaned forward, his blue skin patterns showing concern. "This situation is unfortunate but not unexpected. The Council encountered the Scourge 2 centuries ago. Their nature is to expand, consume, and move on. They do not build civilizations as we understand them. They take what they need, then depart." Carol frowned with respect. "Chancellor, this assessment conflicts with current evidence. The Scourge are not simply raiding our colonies. They are attempting to establish footholds. They bring their own settlement pods. They appear to be expanding their territory permanently, not just gathering resources." Murmurs spread through the Council chamber. This represented a change in known Scourge behavior, a concerning development. The Earth Alliance requests Council assistance. Carol continued, "Our frontier colonies stand between Scourge territory and council space. If they fall, the Scourge will eventually threaten established council worlds as well. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The human assessment was logical, but council policy had long been one of containment, not engagement regarding the Scourge. After the conflict centuries ago, they had established automated monitoring systems and simply avoided the regions where Scourge activity had been detected. High Chancellor Vazik spread his long fingers in a gesture that indicated reluctance. The Council sympathizes with Earth's situation. However, our defensive treaty does not cover regions beyond established council space. Your colonies were established with the understanding that they were beyond our protection. Carol had anticipated this response. Her expression hardened slightly. Then I am authorized to propose an expansion of our treaty. The Earth Alliance will establish a defensive line against Scourge expansion. We will commit our fleet to containing this threat. But we request technological assistance specifically regarding Scourge vulnerabilities and biology. Your historical records must contain valuable information that could help us defend not just human colonies, but eventually, council space as well. The proposal was bold. The humans were essentially offering to serve as a buffer between the Scourge and council space. A dangerous position, but one that could benefit both humanity and the council. The council chambers erupted in debate. Some representatives argued against any deeper entanglement with the young human civilization. Others saw the strategic advantage in having humanity serve as the first line of defense against a potential Scourge expansion. On the frontier, colony of Nova Terra, Governor Susan Harper oversaw the construction of massive defense installations. The once peaceful settlement had transformed into a military stronghold. New shield generators, reinforced dome structures, and weapon emplacements now dotted the landscape. The colonists had adapted to their new reality. Farmers carried sidearms while working the fields. Children practiced emergency drills alongside their regular studies. Captain Olivia Martinez, now Admiral after her successful defense against the first Scourge attack, stood beside Susan, watching a new squadron of Alliance fighters conduct training exercises above the colony. The reinforcements are impressive, Susan noted, looking at the military presence that had become part of daily life on Nova Terra. Olivia nodded, but her expression remained concerned. Earth is committing everything we can to the frontier defense, but each Scourge attack shows new adaptations to our technology. The Nexus Pulse worked once they had countermeasures by the second encounter. Their learning curve is steep. Susan understood the implications. The initial human advantage of surprise had faded. The Scourge were formidable opponents who learned from each encounter. We need to understand them better, she said. Why they attack, what they want. Their weaknesses, intelligence, not just firepower. Olivia smiled slightly. That sounds like the scientist in you talking, not the governor. Susan shrugged. Before I was a governor, I was a xenobiologist. We can't defend against what we don't understand. The council must have more information about the Scourge than they've shared. At that moment, Susan's communication device chimed an urgent message from Earth Command. Both women read it. Their expressions growing serious. A joint mission. Olivia said, reading the details. A human Nexus ship carrying Council scientific advisors. Council intelligence believes they have located a former Scourge outpost abandoned centuries ago. The mission objective is to gather biological and technological data. Susan studied the mission parameters, her scientific background immediately recognizing the opportunity. They want a xenobiologist team leader, she noted. Olivia looked at her friend, understanding immediately. We're the top xenobiologist in the Nexus project before you became governor, and you have direct Scourge encounter experience. Susan took a deep breath. Her duty as governor warred with her scientific instinct and the opportunity to make a difference. On a larger scale, the colony is stable. The defense systems are in place. My deputy can handle things while I'm gone. 2 weeks later, Susan found herself aboard the Alliance vessel, Venture, a specialized Nexus ship designed for scientific missions. Its enhanced stealth systems and research laboratories made it ideal for the mission. The small council delegation consisted of 3 scientific advisors, a Xilari, a Halexian, and an Arcadian. Each brought centuries of knowledge and experience. Dr. Nala, The auxiliary specialist floated beside Susan in the research lab, her tentacles manipulating equipment with remarkable precision. "Your species' adaptation to the Nexus technology is impressive," she commented. The Council Science Division spent decades studying the theoretical principles behind folded space travel, yet never made the connection to practical application. Susan smiled. Working alongside the alien scientist, humans tend to take conceptual leaps. Our science often outpaces our understanding. We build things that work, then figure out why they work later. It's not always the most methodical approach, but it leads to breakthroughs. The Arcadian scientist Dr. Tevik tilted his head in curiosity. A dangerous approach, yet effective. We have much to learn from each other. The venture approached the coordinates of the abandoned Scourge outpost, a small moon-like body, orbiting a gas giant deep in unclaimed space. Sensors showed artificial structures, but no energy signatures, no signs of current. Occupation Admiral Foster appeared on the communication screen, her expression serious. "Remember, your primary mission is intelligence gathering, not first contact, not combat. Analyze what you find and return. The Alliance needs information more than heroics." The landing party consisted of Susan, the 3 Council scientists, and a security team of 6 Alliance Marines. The Venture remained in orbit, its sensors constantly scanning for any sign of Scourge activity. The outpost was eerily silent. Alien. Architecture curved and angular simultaneously. The structures appeared partly grown, rather than built entirely with strange reddish metals and crystalline components. The atmosphere was thin but breathable, with higher oxygen content than Earth. Standard Susan led the team through the abandoned facility. Her scanner recording everything, they found technological remnants, strange organic mechanical hybrid devices, environmental systems, and finally what they had hoped for. A data storage center. Halexian scientist Elder Kren examined the alien technology, his ancient eyes gleaming with interest. "This is more advanced than what we encountered centuries ago," he noted. "The Scourge technology has evolved significantly." The team worked quickly, connecting their translation devices to the Scourge data systems. The alien computers had no power, but the data storage crystals retained their information. Alliance technology, combined with Council expertise, slowly began to extract and translate the stored data. What they found changed everything. This outpost was abandoned not because the Scourge moved on, Susan said, reading the translated data, but because they were fleeing something. They called it the Void, a destructive force that consumed entire systems. The Council scientists exchanged alarmed glances. "The Void," Dr. Nala repeated. "The ancient Council records mention such a phenomenon, a region of space where stars simply died. Systems went dark. Communications ceased." Susan continued reviewing the data, her expression growing more concerned. According to this, the Scourge were a peaceful spacefaring civilization until they encountered the Void. They became nomadic because they had to constantly stay ahead of it. Their aggressive resource, gathering their refusal to communicate its all-survival behavior. They take what they need to keep moving. Admiral Foster stared at them through the communication screen. "The implication's clear. You're saying the Scourge are running from something and now they've reached our region of space." Elder Kren, the oldest of the Council scientists, nodded gravely.